Having bad posture is extremely unhealthy. When you're sat down on your phone or you're gaming for hours on end, your body is naturally going to adapt to that position where your upper back is rounded and your neck is like poking out. It's really weird. You're going to be this C-shaped human. And the way that actually affects your life, in your social life, you seem less confident because you have this closed off body language, and you're going to seem less approachable and less attractive because of it. Physiologically, your lungs are literally being compressed because you're hunching over all the time. And this means you get less air, you're going to get upper back pain later in your life, and your neck is literally straining 24/7. So you might find you have a really stiff neck and you can't even look around normally and observe the world like you're meant to be able to do. And you're literally living life as a compressed human being. You're going to be more fatigued because you get less air in your lungs, and you're going to just be like in more discomfort 24/7. Your quality of life has just dropped from when you had good posture. But the good news is that I used to be just like this, and I completely changed my life when I fixed my posture. And I did this with a series of cues, stretches that I'm going to talk about, and exercises that I'm going to talk about in this video. So I could start by giving you every single really weird stretch or visual cue to help you fix your posture. But what's going to work best for you is to keep the idea that your posture needs to be good 24/7 circulating in your mind. You need to be thinking when you're walking towards, like walking down to school after you got off the bus, that, oh, I need to keep my shoulders back and my head up or whatever. Stuff like that. If you keep that circulating within your mind, it's going to make your results come 10 times faster because you're going to be implementing the advice 24/7. And that's going to be extremely helpful. Given that, the first cues that you need to be thinking about when you think, oh yeah, let me fix my posture, first of all, is to keep your neck up. So your neck up, your head up, sorry. One of the things that affects your posture really badly is when your neck is kind of forwards like this. You need to think about looking up, and that's going to draw your head back. And this might put a bit of strain on your like neck at the back because your posture's been that bad. But I've got a stretch later in the video to help to sort that out. In terms of your back, to stop it from like rounding over and hunching, the main things you got to think about are really pulling your shoulder blades back together and down a little bit. So you maybe it engages your lats a little bit, but most of the movement does come from your traps and your rhomboids pulling up your shoulder blades together in that scapular kind of region of your back, your shoulder blades specifically. It is really important that you even implement these tips when you are sat down at school or at work. So if like the backrest of your chair like helps you keep like a straight spine, maybe with like a slight arch, really don't have an extreme one, but like a slight arch, that is going to be perfect. But if you can just sit there normally with your like shoulders back and down, all the stuff that I said earlier, then that is going to be extremely helpful. And honestly, like a quick forewarning, the first like 2 to 3 days that I did this, it was extremely like uncomfortable, and I'd go home and my back would kind of be aching from like trying to do this all day. But within like a week of it, it's become so much easier to do. I can hold it for more than like a minute. I used to be able to do a minute and I'd have to go back and slouch like all over again. But just constantly trying to make the change and trying to fix it is going to make a huge difference. And now I'm going to be talking about a stretch that you can do for your neck to really like loosen up this back region of your neck that has probably gotten really tight from like having bad posture for years and years on end. And the way it works is you're literally trying to give yourself a bit of a double chin. So you really push down like this and even push it with your fingers a bit. And that extra little range of motion at the bottom, you should feel these like muscle fibers that run down the back of your head, like in your neck. Those should really be getting stretched out. And after you've done it, really try and like stretch out your neck a bit or like loosen up. So I tend to do like ones where like that, where you kind of like I don't know what it's called, something like move like a neck roll, twist it sideways, look sideways, really push that range of motion on the extremes, and your neck is going to be a lot looser. It's going to feel like so much more comfortable after you've done it. Honestly, the first time I did this, it was like a night and day change. Although my actual mobility hadn't increased that much, it felt so good to relieve all that pressure that was building up around my neck and stuff. So this next exercise is targeted towards actually strengthening the back muscles that you need in order to have a good posture. And the way it works, I don't know what it's called. It's like a angel fly raise or something. But the whole goal is that we're going to put our backs against the wall, and specifically we're trying to get our elbow and our wrist to touch the wall like that, while your entire back is against the wall. What you're going to feel initially, if your posture is quite bad, is you're going to feel a bit of like strain along like your rear delts or upper back muscles, and that is the entire point. And if you can, try not to let your back like arch off the bottom like here. Really try and squeeze your abs really, really hard to make sure your whole spine is like touching it. And then try and do it, it's even harder. And once you've managed to get in that position, literally just try and get your hands overhead and back down. But that is easier said than done. Honestly, like go and try it. And having incorporated this into my morning routine for like maybe a month, my posture got so much better because it was so much easier for me to go from this to this because the muscles that did that actually got stronger in the plane of motion that they needed to be in. So that is also going to really help with a condition called anterior pelvic tilt, where your lower back is extremely rounded, and that can actually cause pain as well, lower back pain in that lumbar spine area. And finally, my final tip is if you don't go to the gym, like I'd really recommend starting, but having a really strong like upper back that has those really strong like rear delts, and your traps are really strong on your rhomboids and all those small muscles in your scapula. If those are all really strong and well developed, your posture will naturally be pulled back because those muscles will just be pulling your shoulders back normally. And a final stretch is also called like the door stretch. I had to do this after I broke my scapula because my posture was like hunched over. And basically what it is you put both your arms like this, and imagine there's like a door frame here, door frame there, and you just lean forward and it really stretches out your chest. Because a lot of the reason your shoulders are leaning forward is because your chest has become so tight that it's literally pulling them forward. And to actually stop that from happening, you need to be loosening up your chest with this like door stretch. And it's just going to make you more mobile and flexible, and you'll feel better as well. But in terms of your posture, it's going to make it much easier for your body to come back and pull your shoulders back like they're meant to be. So those are basically the main tips that got my posture from like C-shaped to normal open body language, and it's honestly changed my life. So have fun incorporating them in your life, and make sure you like and subscribe because I got trim.